David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. One of the things I really enjoy about having this channel is that it gives me the opportunity to get a closer look at pens, which normally I would only get to see online or at pen shows. It is one of those pens I have for you today, and that is the latest release from Dupont, which is the Space Odyssey. This is one of those pens where there is a lot to talk about. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the pen, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to Coles of London, the US distributor for Dupont, for providing this pen on loan for review. As the Space Odyssey name would imply, this pen is themed around the great history of space conquest and travel. We are in an exciting new age of space travel. Private companies, trips back to the moon potentially in 2 years, and manned missions to Mars are planned for only 11 years from now. I was too young to remember the Apollo 11 mission, which landed on the moon, but it is exciting to think that within our lifetime we will get to witness a huge milestone in human space travel history. Okay, let's take a look at a pen. First of all, it arrives in this rather large piano lacquered box. On the top is this neat little plaque. This plaque reminds me of the menus and the graphics in the video game System Shock 2. That game is rather old, but still worth checking out. I like how they incorporated the Dupont D logo. That new logo with the spacecraft orbiting around it reminds me of something else that I'll talk about here in a little bit. But in this reflective surface, you can also get a good look at the window that I take most of my pictures in front of. The box opens up, and inside we have an additional plaque. This one is silver in color and contains the limited edition number of the pen. This is a limited edition of 2001 pens, which is a nod to the Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, the film nerd in me wants to spend half an hour just talking about the movie, but I'll refrain from that. It's one of my favorite films. It's not a perfect film, but what it does do is make you think. There are some movies which are mindless entertainment. They're fun, but you forget about them 10 minutes after the movie is finished, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I tend to enjoy movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which make you think. There is very little dialogue, and you can walk away from it very confused, but when you're done watching it, you want to seek out someone else who's seen it in order to talk about it. What do you think this meant? What was the symbolism behind this? What on earth happened at the end? It leads to further exploration and conversation, which is, in my mind, a good thing. Inside the box, there is some typical warranty information as well as a use and care guide. There is also a box full of ink cartridges, as well as a nice booklet talking about the different models of this pen and the inspiration behind them. And then inside, we have the pen. This is the Dupont Space Odyssey. Now, there are two different versions of this pen. This here is the premium version. There is also the prestige version, which is available in a couple of different sets. This is what the model looks like. You could see that it's built to resemble a rocket. It even has fins at the bottom. It looks really remarkable. It comes with a launch pad display and a bottle of ink. Then there is the Prestige Collector's Set, which includes some additional items. There's a large ashtray, some cool astronaut cufflinks, and then a lighter, which sits in this little stand that looks like a lunar lander. But as I mentioned here, the version I have here is the premium fountain pen. It is made from brass and covered in palladium trim and a natural lacquer inspired by the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way gets its name from a Greek myth about the goddess Hera who sprayed milk across the sky. Something I found interesting, in other parts of the world, our galaxy goes by other names. In China, it's called the Silver River, and in parts of Africa, it's called the Backbone of Night. I just thought that was interesting. Let's take a look at the top of the cap. There you will find the Dupont D logo. This transitions into the clip, which is hinged and topped with the traditional Dupont shield. On the side of the clip, it is engraved with Made in France, as well as the limited edition number of this pen. The cap is a little bit bulbous, and at the end, it has that space-themed Dupont D. Now, what that D reminds me of is my initials that I write during the writing sample of each review. During the writing sample, I'll demonstrate what makes them similar. There is a fairly smooth transition to the barrel. The branded band is on the barrel rather than the cap, where it is stamped with SD Dupont, Paris, and then there is a leaf symbol which represents the use of Chinese lacquer in this pen. The barrel tapers down at a consistent angle, and then on the end it is slightly rounded. Let me give you a closer look at the very cool trim on this pen. There are a lot of little details. It's a combination of the looks of rivets as well as grooved panels. I really like that there's even additional trim added beneath the clip. I feel that it adds to the overall look and theme of the pen. I also like how the parts of the trim vary throughout and are very non-symmetrical. Now, you can rotate the cap and the barrel so that the trim lines up on both the front and the back. And while I'm usually a stickler for wanting everything to line up on a pen, if I own this pen, I wouldn't be obsessively lining everything up. I think it looks great even when it's not in alignment in just about any orientation here. The cap snaps off, and underneath we have a 14 karat gold nib. The nib is stamped with another shield, the D logo, and underneath the logo is a winged wheel logo, which used to be part of the company's older designs. This nib is available in either fine or medium, and here's a look at the low-profile plastic feed. The section begins with a decent-sized flare, which is used in the capping mechanism. The section is metal and grooved, then it has a small step up to the remainder of the barrel. Even though this section is metal, the grooves do a very good job of helping you maintain your grip. I don't find this section to be slick at all. The pen does have a bit of heft to it, which is nice. In the hand, it really feels like a quality writing instrument. The pen is plenty long enough to use unposted. The cap does snap to post, and it does post securely, but the cap is a bit on the hefty side. It's 28 grams on its own, which is more than a Lamy All-Star. So while I feel this pen looks nice when it's posted, I do find the additional weight to significantly backweight the pen and throw off the balance. So I would prefer to use this pen unposted. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges, and a converter is provided. With all of the metal in this pen, eyedropping this pen would not be recommended. This is a premium pen, and as such, you would anticipate it also has a premium price. This limited edition model is available from a large number of retailers and sells for just about $1,600, which is a considerable amount, but not unreasonable when you take into consideration the overall quality and design of the Space Odyssey. It is very cool. Now, the Prestige model I showed earlier is a bit more expensive. That pen retails for around $4,200, and the full set, which includes the lighter and cufflinks and ashtray, sells for about $9,500. I've said this many times, but when you are purchasing pens in this price range, you are buying more than just a pen. You're buying a piece of usable art, a conversation piece. And in the case of the Prestige model especially, it's that cool display that you'll have sitting on your desk, which is certainly attention-grabbing. Okay, so now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. So here we go with some size comparisons for the SD Dupont Space Odyssey. Let me go ahead and give you another close-up look. You can see here at the top we have the Milky Way galaxy, and then on the bottom portion it might be hard to see, but there are just some scattered stars throughout here. It isn't quite as dense as it is here on the cap, but it still looks very nice. There, you can kind of get a look at some of the star field that is in here. It's a really nice look to it. And in comparison to some other pens, here it is with a Pilot Custom Urushi, and then here it is with a Mont Blanc 149, and here it is with a Classic Pens LB5. And then in regard to some shorter pens, here it is, well, shorter than the other ones. This is a Pelikan M1000. And then here it is with a Conid bulk filler king size. And here it is with a Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear Sky. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Sailor Pro Gear Sky, and here it is with the Pelican M1000, and finally the Mont Blanc 149. So here we go with the writing sample for the ST Dupont Space Odyssey. And this is a medium 14 karat gold nib. And the ink that I'm using, appropriately enough, is ST Dupont. And it's their royal blue. This is what the ink looks like. It's kind of a lighter, less saturated royal blue. Here is what it looks like in comparison to the Faber-Castell royal blue, as well as the Pelican 4001 royal blue. This is what the bottle looks like. It's kind of an odd-shaped bottle. It has a very wide neck, and it's very shallow, so that while you can get just about any nib size in here, you really have to do it kind of at an angle in order to make it work correctly. So it's a bit of an odd shape, but the ink is very nice. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. While I do not own any in my collection, I will say that I have been very impressed with the SD Dupont nibs that I've tested out. You can get a fair amount of line variation out of here. The ink flow I found to be decent. In reverse writing, it is a little bit scratchy, but it gets the job done. And then in regard to some fast writing, you know what? I mentioned that I was going to say why that D looks like my D, or why it reminds me of mine. And that's because in my initials, my first name is David, so that begins with a D, and then my middle name begins with an A. And so my initials are D, and then it's an A, and then I kind of circle it around, almost kind of like an ampersand. And so without the A, that kind of reminds me of that D with the little circle around it. And the feed has no issues in keeping up. So here we have the SD Dupont Space Odyssey. I was really impressed with this pen. It is a very high quality writing instrument. And it has a very interesting and unique theme as well. So if you're in the market for a pen in this price range, I feel that it's well worth taking a closer look at. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.